Hey, welcome back to another edition of InSecurITy TV. I'm your host, Charles Henson in Nashville, Tennessee. With me today, we have Scott Beck with Beck Tech and David Ruddick of Insane Technologies. David, I think you have a security tip for the end of the show for us. You want to give us a little info on that?
Yeah, well, if you guys want to hang around to the end of the show, we're going to have a quick chat about why if you give up your bank account details to a scammer, the banks won't actually help you reclaim your money. But we'll tell you a little bit more about that at the end of the show.
All right, great. That's going to be some good information. And today, the topic of the show is too good to be true. So maybe you're a Twitter follower and you notice on a tweet that somebody says, hey, you guys, you got to check this out. I've made $560 today. So you look at it, it looks like it's a legitimate tweet, and so you follow the link, only to find out that the software that you're clicking on takes you to a page, and that page appears to be an organization. That organization looks like they've had a lot of media coverage. CNN, Fox News, all these different things have written reports on them. And so you're looking at this, and it's how to earn $5,000 to $7,000 a month from home. So the only thing that you have to do is click on this link, sign up, put in your credit card to get a work from home kit. So Scott, what do you think some of the dangers are of this so-called work from home dealings that we're running into?
Well, right off the bat, one of the things you got to worry about, Charles, is when you're filling out credit card information, if you've got to pay someone to get information back because they're promising you the moon and the stars, if someone says, hey, you're going to make $5,000, but all you got to do is pay me $69.99 for the secret, chances are that secret's not going to be very good. Worst case scenario, what we're actually seeing in the world now is organized crime is actually now leveraging some of these tools to have people do their bidding unknowingly. There was a ring of where you could sign up to do work, and you did. You actually did the work, and some of the people got paid. The problem was the work they had you doing ended up being you were actually money laundering. You were going into one site and you were moving things around, or you were sending email links that looked legit. It was payroll or whatever bogus story they came up with. So you were actually transferring money through your own accounts, and the money definitely went. The bad part was the money was made illegally. So when law enforcement starts tracking that back, guess whose email account and names are all over that? Not the criminals, people that signed up to make their money. And Charles, what I'm finding disturbing is we're starting to see some software that allow advertisements. So, for example, uTorrent. Maybe you've heard of Torrent to be able to download software, and kids are using for music and movies. There'll be little ads showing up there saying, "Hey, click here to make $5,000." So it looks very legitimate, but you don't really know who you're working for. And we've even seen cases where organized crime will tend to want to build up armies of fake personas on Facebook or Twitter or whatever the case may be for doing nefarious things. But all those places you got to put in a little code. You read on the screen. It's called a captcha. So they're actually opening up. It's too good to be true. Free porn sites where people have to go in and fill out their information and fill out this form, and that's actually filling out and giving the criminals again access to the things that they really want to have. So, too good to be true. It's like that old saying from your mother: if it sounds too good to be true, it likely is.
Yeah, in one case, it was CNBC7.com was the domain. And they had all these different reports from CNN and Fox News and business. So it looked like it was legit. I mean, it had all the company logos and all the things on there, but they were selling the kit. Well, if you look at the registrar information, who they bought the domain from and who had registered it, it was actually registered in China only a month prior. So it was a brand new domain, and it was set up as if it was a business that had been there for years. David?
Yeah, I did a little bit of research into this as well, and every single article I read on working from home had the word scam attached to the end of it. So irrespective of whether it's online, I see them all the time. You're driving down the street and someone's got to sign up, work from home, earn money, and all the rest of it. And all you have to do is search on Google for work from home scam, and it comes up with envelope stuffing scams, arts and crafts stuffing scams, all these sort of things where people are being duped into paying, as Scott said, for some sort of kit to be part of this program, and then doing all this work and finding out that whatever they've done isn't at the level it's needed to be or isn't acceptable. And all that's happening is that the people further up the chain are the ones that are getting the money. I mean, it's very, that whole multi-level marketing thing. I know there are companies that are legit, but whenever you have any sort of scam that involves someone above bringing in people below, it's never any good, whether it's Russians or, you know, or just some person in the street who's trying to scam, you know, some old lady out of a few bucks.
Yep. And, you know, the thing is, if you have to buy the kit, like Scott said earlier, then chances are if you have to pay money to start your own business, but you're working for somebody else that's going to pay you, then you might want to think about that. Have you ever gotten a job, a day job, where you're working 8 to 5 and you have to pay them money before you can start? No. Typically, they pay you for even the days that you're training. And so therefore, the more information that you can get about the work from home products, there are a lot of them that are out there. They are legit. They do work, but they require you to take a lot of work and work into that. Affiliate marketing, different sites that you can set up to resell different products. Those are all one thing, but these that we're talking about are another. When you
the get rich schemes. We're talking about get rich. If they're saying you're going to make big bucks off the bat, but you got to pay them a small amount of money, think of it another way. Most of us and our parents and the public is getting used to, if your cell phone rings and it, you know, this is the captain, you just have to pay us a small fee and you go on this wonderful, great cruise, was one of the scams that was happening on the phones. They're just figuring out how to work on the week. As unemployment levels have been a little bit higher, you know, people are legitimately looking for ways to make money, and they understand that, and they're using that against people by making it this gigantic offer. I mean, if everybody could make $5,000 a week from home, I don't think anyone would be in the workforce. We'd all be at home. And there's just not that many jobs out there to be able to do that. So you really got to look into it and see where these companies are. I mean, again, yes, you could be out your $69.99 and potentially identity theft, which is what those companies that are trying to do are really going after. They want to own your persona. The $70 is just a bonus. But I'm even more worried about the organized crime that are using you as the fall guy or gal.
And I saw a local write-up here in Nashville on an elderly couple that had bought into one of these scams. And one of the things that I've noticed is I've had stuff listed on Craigslist, and I had a lot of business items listed. And they said, look, we want to buy everything from you that's in your ad, but we need to send you extra money to pay the shipper. And we're going to send you the money via PayPal. And what they did is they went so far as sending me 3 different emails that appeared to be from PayPal. And those, I never got the money in my PayPal account, but I followed along for about a week trying to get the guy to send me some real money. But what he ended up doing was sent me 3 emails that were from a different domain name, but they had all the PayPal logos in it. And it looked like a transfer was being placed, and it was pending me paying the shipper. So it looked very legit, and so it would be very easy to fall for one of these scams. So it's not just a work from home. It's that basis, like Scott David were saying, if it's too good to be true, it really is.
Well, you pointed out a great thing when you said about, you know, not everybody knows how to go take a look at registrar to see how long a domain has been around or how long that website's been around. Mm-hmm. But in the digital world, it's now so easy to sign up. I mean, it costs, you know, anywhere from $12 to $20 to register a domain. So cheap to be able to put up a website. And unfortunately, when you go to a website and it has CNN or Editor's Choice or all these other things, they're not legitimate. I mean, they're doing something very sophisticated. They're going to another website, they're copying those logos and just putting them on their own. I mean, it's very simple to do. So very low overhead costs for these people. And if they put this out there and they can scam 1,000, 2,000, 10,000 people, they just close down that operation and they open it up under another domain name later, and they do it all over again. So they can just keep hopping this. This is a business model that they're able to do, and do it quite successfully. And the only way to stop it is to take a look and go, hey, is this deal really too good to be true? Stop, pause, don't fill it out. Maybe do a little bit further research. And if you're not sure of the questions, make sure to ask some other people and get more involvement and to take a look at it.
Absolutely. And, if you think about it, if you're going to pay online nowadays, you can either pay via check or you can pay by e-check. You can use credit card or an e-check. So if you use an e-check, essentially what you're doing is you're putting in your bank's routing number and your bank account information so that you can pay them that amount of money. And it is a legitimate way to pay, like utilities and other things of that nature. However, in this case scenario, you're giving up your bank routing number and bank information to these people, along with your name, address, and everything else, which really ties into our security tip of the day, which is all about how secure is your money inside of that bank account. Is it FDIC insured? If you have a business account, is that money protected? David, you have a tip for us today?
Yeah, and look, I actually reached out to my local bank, business bank in Australia, and asked them this question. It had been posed around our groups as a security concern. The concern is that if you inadvertently give away your bank account details as a result of a scam, whether that's over the telephone or over the internet, will your bank cover you for the money? Because we've heard of people losing money from personal accounts, and the bank will insure them for it. The reality is that if you're a business customer, the bank will not insure you for lost money. And I've confirmed that with my bank. Depending on which country you're in and depending who you bank with, I would recommend that you reach out to them and ask them, because you may be very surprised to learn that if you or one of your staff accidentally coughs up those details, it's on your own head. So, reach out to your bank, make sure that you know the truth, and be very wary about who you give up your bank account details to.
Yeah. And I had a discussion with a banker here in the U.S., and if you have a business bank account, it is not covered by FDIC like your personal checking account is. So if you have a business account and you wire transfer, some set amount of money to some hacker because you got scammed out of it, or if you just have a hacker that takes over your bank account and wire transfers money out, like one of those work from home people might be doing to supposedly pay for payroll for somebody else. If your money is gone within 24 to 48 hours, you haven't reported it to the bank, there's nothing they can do to it except call the FBI. And chances are your money's not going to be there, and it is not insured by the bank. So you definitely need to talk to your banker.
Well, Charles, I can tell you here in Canada, personal accounts, same as in the U.S., are insured. So if a scam or something happens within a 90-day period, you make the bank aware, you're going to get covered under the insurance. For business, there is no such insurance, and it's up to the bank to decide how they want to deal with it. So there is no regulation around it here in Canada. And I'm going to tell you a story. It's kind of sad, but even we in the security field sometimes can be duped into this. I had a peer down around the New York area that an employee actually was able to dip in his bank account after the credit cards that came in to pay him. About $53,000 got sent out offshore from his account. It wasn't covered by the bank. The FBI got involved. It's been frozen, but he's been basically told by the FBI it could be years before he sees that money because it got transferred out of the country. So once it leaves your business bank account, it's pretty much free game for whoever got it, and your chances of getting it back are next to nil. Yeah. So it can even happen to people in the know. So you really got to try to protect yourself from those kind of things.
Yeah, in one of the other episodes, we talked about the wire fraud scam emails that's going out, and we talked about Ubiquiti sending out over $46 million to hackers. And their latest report is that they're able to recover some of that money. because they had transferred it into an account and then were dividing it up into sub-accounts. And the money that they had not subdivided yet, according to Ubiquity, they were going to be able to recover those funds. So you just never know. Once it's out there and it's gone, chances are it's gone. But it's always better to talk to your banker today than to talk to him after you've been hacked.
So if it's too good to be true, you probably shouldn't be filling out those forms or doing it. And if you've got a business account, have eagle eyes and be watching your account and talk to your banker. Find out what your protections are.
Yeah, totally. If it is too good to be true and it does pan out, though, please send me an email because I'd actually like a get-rich-quick scheme that works. So,
yeah, absolutely. All right, David, thanks. Scott, appreciate it. That's all the time we have today. Join us for another edition of InSecurity TV.